Alrighty, boys, welcome back to the channel. Gentlemen, in today's video we are speaking about pretty much how learning more in trading did actually the exact opposite of what you would think. So what happened in my kind of story as far as learning more led to me losing more, and knowing less and basically just sticking with less led to me actually finding profitability and making money with trading. It's such an interesting way it works, because what happened with myself is literally got into trading. I got a mentor like right off the bat. I still lost a little bit of money before, like I think I lost like $1,200 before, but we can keep that for a separate video. But basically I got a mentor really early on, which I would recommend all of you guys to do. And you need to take this video with a grain of salt, because if you're learning the wrong information and thinking you're going to become profitable with the wrong information and not having an edge, then don't look at this video. But to more so, now that you know that, to take this with a grain of salt. What happened to me is, in the beginning of my trading career, I pretty much was profitable literally within the first like 3 months of learning. And I got funded for 10K, I got funded for 100K, like literally was making money. And quickly after came the downfall. And it's so interesting as to the way things work, because now looking back, obviously years and years later, did I realize the reason I was profitable in the beginning before getting like so consumed by trading and really as to what it is because I knew so little. And so when I would execute on things, when I was actually making money with things, it's because I was literally just like base level, executing on what I knew and not overcomplicating it, not knowing what psychology is, all these things. And so because of that, just simple stuff, I made money. Now, as things went on, obviously the more you get into the actual like roadmap and understanding of trading, the deeper it gets, then you realize like, oh shit, this is going to take a second. Because what happens is, and this is what I want to get at with this video, you think you're missing something, that something with what you're doing is wrong. And it definitely is. There is something wrong, because obviously you're not making money or whatever it is, right? And for me, same thing. And so I always thought that it was a technical analysis problem. Something that I wasn't seeing on the charts, something that I didn't know on the charts. And so there was literally a period of like a year and a half, about a year, where I learned so much about trading for absolutely no reason. Literally the only thing that I cared about was trading, working, more trading. If I wasn't on the charts, I was on YouTube watching guys, if you're familiar. So I trade institutionally, SMC, order blocks, whatever, supply and demand, fucking all the different terms that have come up over the past like 4 years, 5 years. Basically the way I trade is institutional trading, pretty much just supply and demand, right? And the big guys that I used to watch back then were like Master of Coin, Pips of Persia, a couple other guys, obviously my mentor who taught me all of this stuff. You guys can literally go on my Instagram, actually, on my highlighted stories. There's a bunch of them, but if you click on like the trading one, you'll see like the very beginning, like me 5 years ago, getting into trading education, like learning and trading and all the stuff that I was involved in for years. But basically, so that year, dude, I learned so much about trading, and I was still losing and losing and losing. And it felt like the more I knew, the more I lost. Literally, the easier it was to lose, because it just kept going down this black hole of learning. And it was so frustrating, bro. It was literally so frustrating, because if you're a trader, if you're a business owner, if whatever it is that you're doing, like imagine putting all of your time, all of your effort, all of your resources, dropping everything else. I literally dropped out of college. Literally, I 360'd my whole life because of trading. Everything because of trading, because I was like, this is what I want to do. And so imagine going so all into this, and this is the only thing that you think about, you sleep about, you eat about, you care about. And it's not working, and it seems like it's getting worse. But you've tasted it, though. You've tasted the success because you've seen it previously, so you never give up. But eventually, I got to that point where it just felt like it was going nowhere, dude, where I've had some dark moments, you know, because I was learning so much, again, putting all this time in, it just felt like it was going nowhere. And it leads you down a dark path, man, because it feels like you're doing everything for no reason. Um, and I just remember that so many times where I was like, dude, it feels like I'm doing all of this stuff for what? You know, for no reason. It seems like everybody's still right. Literally everybody's still right about me, that I should have stayed in school, that you know, that I'm gonna regret the decision I made, that I'm stupid, that this, you know, your family, your friends, and it sucks, right? Don't get me wrong, it fucking sucks, especially going through it. I mean, now when you look back, is it really that bad? No. But when you're going through that shit, oh brother, it fucking sucks, let me tell you. But anyways, so I got so deep into this stuff, as I was saying, where, you know, I'm learning about like quarter theory. I'm learning about basically things that because I just got so consumed about, that absolutely have nothing to even do with the way I trade now. I trade so simple now, and this is what I want to get at with this video to end it off. We'll talk about it a little later, but basically, I trade now pretty much in the most simple way, even more simpler than when I first started trading, if not very similar. Like, my trading is so simple that a third grader could really understand how it is that I trade. And I promise you, if you are watching somebody, if you are trading and your mentor or whatever, even yourself, if you can't explain the way you trade in like one sentence in a very simple way, I highly doubt that you're profitable. I highly doubt that your mentor is profitable. Because all of the people that I know, that I've seen, that I've witnessed, that I've hung out with, that are actually traders and profitable, they can explain the way they trade in like one sentence, in like a couple steps, and that's it, right? And so I just got into this deep hole of just digging myself further and further of all this knowledge that I would then try to apply to the charts. And then next thing you know, my charts were looking more messy than ever, more fuller than ever, which is like the exact opposite of what you want. You want your charts to look so clean, so simple. Damn near nowadays, like there's almost nothing on my chart except for like a zone and then like my actual position, right? Maybe some liquidity, that's it. But with that, so then eventually I noticed that, all right, bro, this is not getting me anywhere. Right after year and a half, every single day, like every single day, putting work in. And there was just a pivotal moment where I was like, all right, bro, this is obviously not working. Something needs to change. And it's funny the way things work, because what I also noticed is I had these same realizations early on with my trading, where I was literally like, this shit's dying because I'm not smoking it enough. Where I was literally like reading Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, if you guys are familiar with who that is. And I have that also on my highlighted stories. You guys can check it out on Instagram. But he basically talks about how you should be approaching the markets. Oh, what the brother? Has my nose been looking like this the whole time? What in the helly? Anyways, so Mark Douglas talks about in his book Trading in the Zone how you should actually be approaching the markets, right? And your mentality of like, you shouldn't be looking, you know, to predict the markets every day and be right 100% of the time. You're just coming into this game and playing a very just calculated risk game. You know, you've assessed your risk, you're putting it on the table. What happens happens. You're not looking to come in and be right 100% of the time. And these things were hitting me early on, but it felt like more than ever after all this time of thinking I needed to know more, did it really start to like hit me like, bro, okay, what's the actual problem with what I'm doing? And this is heavily when I started to focus on the like psychology of my trading, the discipline of it all, the trading journal, all this, that kind of stuff, right? And then there were also stories like I would hear, basically, this is a good story for you to know as well. There was this trader on Wall Street, I believe, And he posted his strategy, super successful. He posted it in the news for people to copy, right? His literal strategy. So like the secret, what everybody thinks, you know, like the new strategy. And people still couldn't find profitability with it even after they knew exactly the rules, you know, how it worked and everything. And so when I would hear these kinds of things, it was like, okay, well, if it's not that, right, and you have the literal blueprint in front of you, what's the difference? It's the person executing on it, right, and the market experience. And so at the end of the day, really, what does that fall on? Your market psychology, you know, your ability to come in and execute on your rules. What is it that separates somebody that has the same set of rules but it's not working for them? It's because they can't follow the rules, while the guy that's making money can, because they have the same thing in front of them, right? And so what do I mean by this? And when I say psychology, like the over trading, the revenge trading, the FOMO, you know, all of that, the greed, everything is what I noticed really was the difference maker. And so this is when I really started to take a step back with my trading volume. So what I used to do is I would trade early on. I'd say like 5-6 positions a day. Yeah, when I think about it now, it's honestly fucking crazy, and I was wondering why I'm not profitable, bro. So I take like 5-6 positions a day, you know, completely lose, win some, lose, but my winners unfortunately were good, because with the way I trade is heavily like risk management, risk reward, meaning like I'm not trading 1-to-1s, I'm trading 1-to-3s minimum, 1-to-4s, 1-to-5s are pretty normal. And so when I would do stuff like that, back then, so I'd take a dub and then I'd have this huge buffer. But then because I was trading so much and because I had all these psychological problems with my trading and I couldn't step away or whatever, I would continue to go back into the market, or I would take a series of losses and then not leave and come back tomorrow and find the right trade. And so then just this one day would be filled with like 5 losses, and then I would maybe take a setup the next day and then I would make back. And so it was just this continuous cycle of like, oh my God, like I'm trading way too much, bro. And so I heavily started to dial back with how much I traded. And it was super nice, man, when this transition happened, because it just felt like it wasn't even me realizing that I need to trade less. It was more so me realizing that I need to just become more patient and more disciplined as a person. Because the biggest difference in what happened to me was literally I went from wanting to make 10K today to just wanting to make 10K in the future consistently. Like, that's kind of the best way for me to explain this. I was no longer in a rush to become successful with my trading, and then because of that, I became successful in my trading. And so I would take a trade, and because I knew I didn't need to make 10K today or $1,000 today, $2,000 today, you know, I was okay with leaving for the day. I was okay with like taking a step back and then just waiting for tomorrow if the opportunity presented itself, because I wasn't in a rush anymore. You know, I've understood the position that I was in, embraced the position that I was in, and understood the patience necessary to make this work. And so then when I would come back into the market the next day, you know, and the position was there, and then I take a dub and then I would leave again, because I was becoming just such a more patient person, you know. And then same thing, if I could come into the market and take a loss, my ability to leave and not want to make 10K today, so I have to go back to try to make that money, that's when things really started to shift for me. So just literally the patience and the discipline is what changed the game. And this is why I'm so big on the psychology side. It's like all you guys see me talk about on this channel nowadays. And you guys can go watch all these videos, man. Like, I documented all of this on this YouTube channel, me trading, me going to Europe, me withdrawing. Like, just scroll back on this channel. It might be a couple years back. But at least that lets you guys know that I'm a real one in this fucking game, that I've been doing this for years. And I'm not some bullshit fucking trader that just started trading a month ago and is preaching some fucking bullshit here, right? But those are like the mental shifts that I had to have. And this is when I understood that trading is a psychology game. And really, trading in the zone, that book heavily shifted the way I thought about this stuff, even early on. So what led to my 90-day blitz. This is what led to the habits changing in my life, you know, the dream physique coming in my life. Again, all these stuff, it's almost like I always say this, and this is why I've created the Masculine Money Mastery, the Masculine Money Men, like the inner network in my program and stuff, is because success at a whole came down to the same things with anything that I did. With anything that you decide to do, it always just comes back to the same thing, bro. And it's just like your ability to stay disciplined and consistent. That's literally it. If it was, because the thing is, while I was doing this trading stuff, right, especially once I became profitable, because at that point, and again, becoming patient, I was realistically spending like, bro, 30 minutes an hour a day trading, like, and I was in a different country at the time as well. Like, what am I gonna do for the next 23 and a half hours, 22 hours, sleep for 8? Like, I'm just gonna bullshit? No. So I got involved in a couple other things, you know, started doing social media. Why is this dying, bro? Anyways, I don't smoke cigars that much. I need to start again though. But anyways, did it start? Oh my goodness. There it is. Anyway, this thing splinted, but who cares? It is what it is. So I got involved in a couple other things, right? Like I started a clothing brand, I started social media. You know, I grew eventually to a couple 100,000 followers on TikTok, over like 150K on Instagram, because I would just post so consistently 3 times a day until I blew up. With the clothing brand, I realized after about 2 months, I would say, of being in the game. No, definitely not 2 months. What am I saying? I'd say about 6 months in, about 2 months after our first drop, I realized that as our SMS list was going, if you guys are unfamiliar, I know I'm kind of getting off topic, but I promise you it ties into trading as a whole. I noticed that with the SMS list, it was continuing to grow. If you guys don't know what an SMS list is or an email list, it's basically you collecting a bunch of customer information so that you can market to them. And so with an SMS list, it's just a bunch of phone numbers that you can send a text to on like your drop date. And so all of a sudden, when you drop and nobody knows about what you're dropping or something like that, you can drop on your drop date and then send out a text to these 1,000, 10,000 people that you have in your list. Now they're notified, boom, click to buy, right? Go to your website, whatever. And then that also tracks the metrics. And so very aware if it's effective or not. But I noticed after like 2 months of our first drop, our SMS list was growing. Not massively by any means. Like we weren't a big clothing brand. Like eventually, like I stopped doing that because I didn't like the business model and things along those lines. But we had like 400 to 500 people in our SMS list, and we had stock of about 50, 100 items. We were doing tracksuits, and they were about like $100 a piece, or I don't even remember. But the point I'm getting at is I saw this SMS list grow, and then I was like, dude, like it's literally just the discipline and the consistency with this again. And then anything else that I did, like there's so much stuff that I did, bro. Initially first doing coaching in the space, because I didn't even know you could really make money online until I got a mentor and stuff like that. But same went for that, bro. Like literally just the discipline, the consistency of you guys being able to see me show up on these videos. I know I've toned back a little bit as time has gone on, just because I've had to organize a couple things in my life, in my mind, in my trading, in my businesses, just understanding like what is it that I actually want to do and work on, and why am I bouncing around from all these different things and sectors and businesses. Because as I say, like I've done so much stuff, it's almost retarded though, to the point where it's like, why have I done so much stuff? Why have I not just done very few things? And just kept it at that. But I don't regret any of this, because I've gotten to experience, I like to say, bro, in the past 5 years, I've fucking truly lived like 100 lives, as to most people won't even live up to one. And so that's why you can't be one of those people that doesn't go out and chase your fucking dreams, etc. But so I just noticed this common trait, and that's why I ended up starting, you know, Masculine Money Mastery, my coaching, and then the inner network, as I'm saying, because it was just like, all right, bro, it don't matter what you want to do, you just have to build it in here, the discipline and the consistency, right? And that's why even now with my trading program and my boys and all the people that I've taught and mentored with whatever, the biggest part of it is, you guys are gonna think this is funny because I've seen some memes on Instagram about this shit. But it's truly the mindset, man. Like when you pay 10K for a mentorship and then the modules are literally just talking about mindset or fucking like shit like that. It's funny, but it's the truth. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot more to it, but the biggest part of it is truly yourself, dude. And you realize this as you go on with things. It's just like your ability to show up and just fucking grind every single day without no hesitation, with the sacrifices that you're willing to make, that you understand you have to make, not getting too caught up in how you feel at the moment, just literally sticking to what you say you want to do. And that's the biggest part of all of this. And I swear how this ties into the trading part is because, again, trading is mainly a psychology game. And so if we know it's mainly a psychology game and not a technical game, what does that mean? That you have to get your psychology on lock. And it was as simple as that, bro. And as soon as I got my psychology on lock, I'm telling you, that's when I was literally able to fucking get funded consistently, withdraw consistently, and just basically fucking shit on everybody, bro. I remember the first like profitable month I had, man. Like consistent profitable month, not like, oh, maybe I got lucky. Like, no, like we showed up every day, trading journal pretty much every day. It was the biggest fuck you in my mind to everybody, but I wasn't doing this for nobody at the same time. I'm literally only doing this for myself. So a lot of the times, what you have to realize too is just fuck everyone, bro. Literally fuck everybody. Nobody knows you. Nobody's thinking about you anyways as much as you think they're thinking about you. So you just have to show up and do your thing, bro. Literally, that's it. And in that, will it then start to click for you and make sense, and then you'll fall in love with where you're at in the journey and fall in love with what you're doing. Hopefully you're already in love with what you're doing. That's why you're doing it in the first place. I genuinely just like trading. That's why I started doing it in the first place. I have so many trading stories. I'm a math kind of guy. Always been in school. I love numbers, charts. I like to think of trading as like predicting the future in a way, because you're literally predicting economies, the price of currencies, and that's super dope to me. I literally love this shit, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be doing it for this long. But I don't mean to go on a tangent here, boys. So hopefully you guys were able to take something valuable from this video and understanding that less is more with your trading, man. Truly, less is more. The less you know, the better it will be. But again, as I said in the beginning of this video, I don't want you guys to think, like, I learned a profitable strategy early on, okay? And so if you guys, like, don't think just psychology or knowing less is gonna solve your problem if you don't know enough, though. Like, not even like a good foundation on like trading, on like an edge. Like, you need to have an edge in both your psychology and in your technicals. Like, you can't just have one or the other. This is why it's a combination of the two. But boys, with that being said, as always, love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.